Welcome to everyone who have already joined in. We'll just wait for a few minutes. We would also give some, time for the other participants to join in. Please hang on with us.
Yes, we'll start in another few minutes. We can see there are a few more participants, those who are joining us. So we'll start in another 2-3 minutes. Professor Kalyan Bhaskar has also joined us. Good evening, Professor Kalyan.
Good evening, Pritesh.
Welcome, sir. So we will be starting in another 2-3 minutes.
Sure.
We have Mr. Raghavan Sridhar with us also, alumni from last batch 5. Raghavan, if you could please unmute yourself and say hi to the professors and the participants.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I hope I'm audible and visible.
Yes, you're audible. And in another 2 minutes, we will start the webinar, and then, I will walk you all through today's agenda about the session.
I think we can start, Pritish.
Yes, Palak. I think we have, most of the participants have already joined us. All right, so we will now start with our today's webinar. So, good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you. It is a pleasure to welcome you all to this exclusive webinar on XLRI's postgraduate certificate in senior leadership. We are thrilled to see that so many professionals are joining us today, eager to explore how this program can elevate their leadership journey. So let me introduce myself. I am Pritish Mandal. I'm the program manager for XLRI PGCSL batch 6 from VC Now. I am based out of Gurgaon. And also joining me is Mr. Pulak Patnaik, director at VC Now Executive Education. He is based out of Kolkata. Today's topic is the future of leadership. You all will agree with me. Leadership is constantly evolving today, and in today's fast-changing business world, leaders must adapt, innovate, and inspire. The theme of today's webinar, Future of Leadership, will focus on the key trends, challenges, and skills that define successful leadership in the modern corporate landscape. To guide us through this session, we have honored to have two esteemed faculty members with us today from XLRI Jamshedpur, Professor Manoj Thomas and Professor Kalyan Bhaskar. Professor Manoj Thomas is an Associate Director, Corporate and VIL Programs at XLRI Jamshedpur. Professor Thomas is a distinguished academic and thought leader in business strategy, marketing, and leadership development. His expertise has played a pivotal role in shaping executive education at XLRI, helping professionals enhance their leadership impact. And Professor Kalyan Bhaskar is Associate Professor in Strategic Management area at XLRI Jamshedpur. He brings deep expertise in business strategy, digital transformation, and corporate leadership. His insights into navigating today's evolving corporate landscape have empowered many professionals to develop strong strategic thinking and leadership capability. We are also delighted to have Mr. Raghavan Sridhar, Senior Manager at Ericsson India and an alumnus of PGCSL Batch 5. He will share his first-hand experience of the program, highlighting how it shaped his leadership skills and professional growth. So before we begin, we will open the platform for question and answers in the last 15 minutes of the webinar. Meanwhile, we request you to post your questions in the chat box. So without further ado, let's begin. Now I invite Professor Manoj Thomas and Professor Kalyan Bhaskar to take us through the session. Over to you, professors.
A very good evening to all of you. Hi, Kalyan. So I'll go first, maybe. So because I'll sort of lay the base for what we are going to discuss, so you can add later on that. So as we are talking about the future of leadership, so I would like to spend maybe 2 minutes on the past of leadership. And because we designed this program in terms of with certain assumptions, right? We assume that leadership can be developed because that itself is something, because just there's general belief that there are born leaders. Okay. And given XLRI's history of management development programs for the past 75 years, so we have actually learned that leadership, a lot of leadership aspects of leadership can be developed. So that's one part. Okay. And leadership is seen as, has always been seen as important, now possibly more so. Okay. And in fact, there's research to back this. So there is, in fact, as far as 60 years ago, there was a person called Philip Selznick who actually analyzed organizations, and he found that the key difference between successful organizations and the not so successful organizations was the presence or absence of what he called good general managers. Okay, and which is what we are talking about, top management leaders. Okay, and there is if you look at the training when we are trying to develop this kind of programs, this is just gone through several iterations. A lot of people have gone through it, but one of the things that we always have found is that there is a requirement. There are certain skills that can be trained. Obviously, there are some things which also come innate to the person. Okay, but there are some things which can be trained, and this sort of what can be trained comes from two popular sources you can look at. Okay, one is in anyone who has some brush with management would remember something called, it's a funny cartoon kind of thing. It's called Peter Principle. Okay, Peter Principle says, it's one of the relics of management. It says that people get promoted to the extent of their incompetence. Okay, so that means if you're good at a job, you get promoted to the next level, and if you're good at that, you get promoted more till the level you reach a level where you cannot be promoted anymore, because you reach a level when you are no longer good at it. Okay, it is funny, but it also tells you one deeper insight which we'll come to, and it's also related to what another management thinker actually has talked about, a person called Ramcharan. What he says is there are different skills. Leadership is different things at different times in the different places in the organization. Okay, what he says is as we grow in the organization, the skills required for leadership changes. So maybe when you are at the functional level, the leadership you requires a different kind of skills. As you become more senior, the kind of leadership you require changes. Okay, and it's so at different levels there are different kinds of leadership required. And as Prithvi was talking about, in terms of how can we actually have different types of leadership at different levels of the organization. Similarly, for the same organization at different times, you may require different kinds of leadership. There's a classic example of a person called Jack Welch, who displayed different traits at different points of time. That's why he's talked about as a great leader. Okay. Yes, Kalyan, would you like to add to whatever I just started off?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, first of all, to Pritish Pulak and the VC Now team for setting up this webinar for us to engage with so many people across India. And thank you so much, Professor Manoj, for giving a very good introduction to the setting. Now, the topic of the webinar is the future of leadership. And when we look into it, it's 25 years in this new century, and when we look at what's happening around us, it's a much more volatile world. It's a much more dynamic world. It's a much more agile world. And the competencies that might be required for leaders that are stepping up, or leaders that might have to step up their roles, their forms would be very different. The challenges in terms of managing teams, the challenges in terms of managing diversity of all different sorts, the challenge in managing uncertainty around you, uncertainty of all different times, the challenge in managing changing customer expectations, the challenges in managing nature of work. All those challenges present unique set of challenges for current and future booming leaders. I'll just take the example of, for example, automobile sector. Now, automobile sector is going through a transformation that perhaps it has not gone through in the last 100 years. Today, automobiles, the cars, the latest cars, resemble a lot with the electronic products than with the mechanical components. So the leadership that might be required for an automobile firm or an automobile component supplier today, leaders in those companies, would be pretty different from what they might have been 25 years back. And the pace of change is only going to increase further now that we have an AI. Now, there was a time when any technology or any internet or such thing was as a tool to drive growth. But today, there is a core strategy is around how do you manage AI? Because the way AI can come and disrupt, we just had our AI summit in Paris, which was attended by global corporate and political leaders. So I think when we talk about all of those changes that is happening around us and the future of leadership, I think this program, this offering from our institute, which is in the 6th batch that we are planning to offer right now, provides you that opportunity that across 12 months through a phygital mode, where some of it is physical on campus, and a lot of it is digital from the confines of your homes or offices. You can come engage with the faculty members across the 12, 13 courses that you will go through on all different types of things. So when you look back, perhaps when you look ahead, perhaps summer of 26, if you go through this program, you might perhaps see that maybe some competencies and skills required for you to drive the growth in your organization and manage all those changes at multiple steps. I think you are in a much better situation than today, 12 months later. So I think with that note, I think I'll just open the forum to Pritish and Pulak to take it from here.
Thank you so much, Professor Kalyan. So now, as you said, I mean, the leadership has changed from last, 2 decades, I would say. Earlier, AI was not there. Now, things like AI is there, which is, everyone is talking about it, is everywhere in the industry. So, what would you say about, the, leadership, like somebody who has completed their graduation 20 years back, now they are at a leadership position. Do you think how, these senior leadership program will help them to evolve? Because I think learning is something which is very crucial and important nowadays, and every professional should, keep evolving themselves by learning new skill sets. Otherwise, in 2025, the pace at which things are changing, it will be very difficult for professionals like all of us to cope up with the industry experiences. So what do you want to say on that part, sir?
Yes, well, look, yes, Pritish, I fully agree with you, because I think what Professor Kalyan was also talking about, a lot of things have changed. Okay, in fact, I would like to put it in 2 buckets. One is the organization has changed. Okay, because hence leadership has changed. Second is the context of the organization has changed, in which it has operated. Okay, so you can see that there are, what the organization stands for. For instance, earlier, if you look at it, organization stood for profits. Now you have to deal with multiple stakeholders who are equally important. Okay, so that's a huge change from what it used to be maybe 20 years ago. Maybe 15, 20 years ago, when you talk about sustainability and all, it was mostly lip service. It was not serious. Now organizations realize that it has to be serious. Okay, so multiple stakeholders become equally important. Then you have things like, earlier you used to talk about organizations have very, rigid boundaries. Now the boundaries are very, very, porous. People come in and out, you have vendors, networks. So those kind of things increasing. So again, it's a very different kind of a game as compared to what it was earlier. Okay, and then we talk about, earlier the organization was slightly smaller but less complex. Now we have bigger organizations, and even the small ones are extremely complex. So how do you deal with a complex organization? And obviously technologies are important. It's disrupting everything. Earlier, only some businesses used to have very disruptive technologies. Okay, and obviously when you're dealing with people, we are now dealing with a multi-generational workforce. As you said, there are a lot of leaders have passed out in their graduation 20 years ago. But if you see the workforce, the executives are coming in, they passed out 2 years ago. Okay, or some of them are coming just out of school. Okay, so there is a different kind of mindset. So how do you lead them? Okay, and sometimes it's not leading them or allowing them to lead the organization. So it's a different mindset altogether. And obviously, sometimes when you talk about organization, you are not, people are not part of the organization. We call it gig economy and all. There are people who are outside the organization working with you, on whom your entire success depends. So leadership is also about leading people outside the organization. So this is a very new paradigm of leadership. So these are some of the things you can see is changing. Some of the things which are required here as same as earlier, because there are some fundamental leadership traits which are still required, but there are a lot of new things which are required by leaders of today. So which is what makes this entire aspect of future leadership extremely challenging. That's my point of view.
And just to add on, Pritish, to your question of someone, a CXO who joined 20 years back, who started the career 20 years back, how does that CXO deal with all those changes? And as Professor Manoj was mentioning, the changes are happening at multiple levels on multiple fronts, that it becomes difficult. And going back to what Newton said about that inertia. So generally there is an inertia, there is a reluctance to change. And especially when the pace of change around us is extremely fast, then it becomes even more daunting to keep up with that. Change is happening at the workplace itself. That CXO who might have started 20 years back, a career now has to deal with not just millennials, but Gen Z, who have a different expectation from the workforce.
I was about to
That-
come to this point, Professor Kalyan. I'm so sorry but this is something, people do talk about Gen Zs because nowadays, the all senior leaders in the industry, their main concern area is that how do we handle this kind of people, those who are joining our organization, Gen Zs. I'm so sorry, Professor Kalyan, please continue. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. So just continuing on Gen Z part, and Professor Manoj talked about the organization's boundaries are changing. One way in which organizations' boundaries are changing is suddenly uh, employees expect, stakeholders expect organizations to do things which earlier they didn't used to. For example, corporate responsibility. What in India we do was known as CSR. Now, suddenly, perhaps there was a time 20 years back when there was no such thing as corporate responsibility in India, 2005. Maybe a handful of single-digit firms were doing anything on corporate responsibility. Today, that number has gone up to more than 1,000 firms because there is a mandate, but also because the stakeholders expect you, the investors expect you, the shareholders expect you, the vendors expect you, your employees expect you, the board expects you, and that's one nature in which the role of what a firm should do, what a firm should not do, that has changed. There was a survey by Deloitte, if I remember correctly, which was done in the US context in 2022-2023, in which they asked the millennials, rather the Gen Z, that what do you expect the role of a company should be? And making profit was not the first answer. Bringing a change in society was the first answer. So now that when you have those Gen Z people coming and working in your companies, and now you're talking about EBITDA growth, sales growth, revenue growth, and the person comes and says, no, I want something else, my company to do that, company to be a change agent for something else. And when you have the diversity of thoughts in your company, that team, sometimes conflicts will happen. They might not be all unison about the approach in which we have to move. So how do you manage that? How do you manage the disruptions that is already happening? We are seeing that happening in our classrooms. We are seeing that happening in peers and other Indian companies about AI. The way AI, the extent to which AI is coming and sometimes aiding as a tool, or sometimes perhaps posing perhaps a threat to the your nature, your product. So that's those sort of changes, and I think this program will actually help you, not to give a one pill solution for everything, but it will help you deal, groom you more, and perhaps program you more to deal with all these and build these competencies and skills to deal with these challenges.
Right, Professor Kalyan. So there was an era when, Generation X was there, Generation Y was there, then Gen Z, which is, the kind of set of people, those who have high expectation. And nowadays, people are also talking about work life balance and, the minimum working hours in a week. All these things are being very much talked about on social media and, professional platforms like LinkedIn. Right. So a leader, somebody who is a general manager or a CEO of an organization has to think from that perspective also, I think. Right. So how do you, portray this? I mean, how this program will help those, leaders in the industry to think about, the new things which are coming up and how to, balance the work-life balance and all these things which people are nowadays talking about. What do you have to say about on this, sir?
I think based on what Professor Kalyan was saying, actually there is a, because the kind of things that we are used to, okay, so there is no simple solution, okay. So what we would like to encourage in the classroom also is about questioning everything. So because whatever we have discussed, AI or whatever different kinds of organization or different workforce, they are going to challenge everything which is there, okay, because whatever established practices, processes, culture which used to work in the organizational context, none of them are going to work in the future, okay. So a lot of things are going to get changed. So as leaders or future leaders, one should be open to that, one should be prepared to think through that, okay, because as I was saying, because culture used to be one important thing that leaders used to create. If you look at role of leaders have different roles that they play in the organization. One is to establish a strategy, one is to establish the controls, one is to establish the ethical standards, one is to create a culture. So different roles of the leaders. Now each one of them is going to become more complex. Okay, so when you are saying that's the processes that you have, they are no longer going to be there, because earlier people used to work for a lifetime. Now they will work for maybe 3 years, go out and come back. Okay, so there are a lot of things which workforce is going to do which we never did before. So hence, that's you need to be able to, as leaders, we need to be agile mentally, think of different options, being open to a lot of new possibilities. So that's where possibly, even going through a program like this can possibly, help you. Yes, Kalyan. Yeah, I hope. Yeah.
Yeah, just maybe a sentence more or so. When you talked about how do organizations or this program helps you deal with challenges like work-life balance and others. So if you go through the program curriculum, we have two specific courses. One is leading change or driving change, and the other is on, I think, building a responsible organizations. So these elements of work-life balance or employee well-being, I think these will be covered in these two modules specifically, specific to your question.
Right. I was going through a post on, LinkedIn on social media, wherein manager was posting a WhatsApp message, wherein, the employee was just informing his manager that, hi, Pritish, I need a week, leave for today. He's not asking for permission. I mean, these kind of changes which we have seen, when our parents used to work, they used to work in the organization throughout their whole life, throughout their whole lifetime, and after that they used to get retired. But now people are switching jobs like this. I mean, they will get a better opportunity, they will leave your organization, they will go to some, so retention is something which is also a thing which is, people, leaders who are there in the industry are finding it difficult to retain the talent in their organization. So I think, yes, Gen Zs are nowadays those who are setting the trend, and we, being as a leader in the industry, should adopt the changes which are happening. We has to be fragile and flexible in terms of these work-life balance and all those things. So, professors, we have a question from Bineet Sahu. He posted a question in the chat box. He wants to ask: we have witnessed growth in the dynamics of business where organization has increased footprints across the globe. How does this program, PGCSL, will help leadership in driving business with multiple geography in this world?
Okay. So one of the aspects what we have thought for the XLRI program, whichever program we have in XLRI, one of the key, learning goals that we have set for ourselves is something called a global mindset. So across different programs, different courses that we have, that will be one of the learning goals that we'll set ourselves. Okay. So hence the global mindset will come through every course that we have. Okay. That's one part. Second is when we talk about organizations or strategy, or in fact, we also have, I think, we have sessions related to international business. Okay. So that will bring in the element of internationalization, organizations, all those things will be brought into the program.
Right.
Because when we talk about organizations, we are largely talking about because this need not be large. Okay. Because earlier when we used to talk about international organization, the assumption was that you become small to big to become national to become international. Okay. Nowadays we are seeing a phenomenon where small firms, day one, we call them born global firms, are international. So internationalization is now something which you cannot live without. So hence it will be part of everything that we teach.
Right.
Okay. Yes, Kalyan. Anything else?
Absolutely right, sir.
No, I think
yes, Professor Bhaskar, please.
Yeah, so nothing more from my point to add on that specific question.
Okay. So professors, we have one more question from Swapna, and she's asking, does this program help people at C-suite level positions?
Yeah, we expect that because we are trying to look at the skills related for leadership at different levels. We have courses related to strategy, advanced strategies. We have courses related to control. We have courses related to governance. Okay, so these are some of the skills which are required for people who will be taking up top management positions. Okay. And even because if you see one more thing, as I was saying earlier, that even the skills which are required for the C-suite professionals actually is required for nowadays one level before. The competency levels actually have even one level below C-suite also almost similar level competencies are required. So hence, that's what we are trying to, in many of the courses if you see are actually aligned to that. Yes. Anything to add, Prof?
No, sir. I think there's this program will help people, those who are just about to enter CXO levels, C-suite levels, or those who are mirroring those C-suite levels. And even because the courses that you have, as you mentioned, corporate governance. Corporate governance is essentially a lot about the C-level, the leadership level. The advanced strategy courses that you mentioned, that will come in the initial part of the program. I think those will be found more helpful by the C-suite people.
And I think,
and also, as I was saying, as I was saying that because we have tried to design the programs largely from the top manager's perspective, because the top manager is responsible for different roles, including setting the strategy, setting the culture, setting the values. So that's the perspective from which most of the courses have been designed. Okay, so in that sense, many of them will contribute to having an understanding of the entire organization. Yeah, sorry for interrupting. Yeah.
no issues. I just want to add that, even during the past, 5 batches, we have seen that our, audience and participants have been pretty diverse in terms of industry band and also from the profile band per se, so, starting from middle level managers to extremely senior level, executive, because leadership as an element is something which is very, very critical in today's workplace, and I think you cannot go amiss out of that. So I think the I would say magnitude of the audience reachability in terms of dimensioning and diversity is extremely rich in the last 5 batches that we have delivered. And I think we can also share some deeper insights later, once we interact with our counselors, that how good, effective it has been, responding to, few of the questions that we can see here.
Right. So there are a few questions also about, industry specific, for example, healthcare management, hospital management, or, sports management. I think to answer this question, this is a leadership program, and any leadership program, you do, it will definitely going to help you. You can be it from any profile, any, area, be it healthcare, be it automobile, be it manufacturing, IT. Leadership skills is something which will help you throughout your whole career, wherein you need to deal with people and team. So yes, this program is not a domain specific program. This postgraduate certificate in senior leadership is meant for everyone, and everyone who wants to acquire leadership skills and knowledge. So I think this answers about your question.
Just to add on to that, I think as you correctly mentioned, this program is not a sector specific program. That agri sector, leadership in agri sector, or leadership in healthcare sector, or leadership in sports sector. But you can be from any sector, from any diverse sectors. What you will find is that the courses, the competencies and the skills can be applied across sectors. What other things that can happen, that if you want something specific to be discussed related to your sector in a particular course, you have the option to engage with the faculty member to bring out that during the classroom part, during the discussion part, or maybe as a separate case study, as a separate discussion point separately. Those options will anyways be there, options to engage with the faculty members and the class within the classroom or outside the classroom.
Yeah, thank you.
The examples that we bring to examples will be from services, from manufacturing across sectors, and there will be also opportunities for cross learning, because you can learn from the other sector also. Yeah.
Also, the kind of the participants, the batch we had earlier also, the batch we will always have a mixed kind of profiles and people from different location and region. So the kind of learning which will happen while exchanging the thoughts will help you. You can be from any domain, any sector, any designation. The learnings will stay with you for for a longer period of time in your career. So the program is about leadership skills, irrespective of any field, any sector, I think. So I have one more question from Krishna. So Krishna is asking, I have 18 years of work experience in middle management. Could you please explain how would be career prospects to me?
Yeah, I think Syngenta is a global MNC, now Chinese owned, which has a office in India, large office, earlier a Swiss company acquired by them, with a strong interference in the agribusiness sector. So it's an agribusiness sector cutting across there. So I think as we mentioned, so now there have been 3 questions, one on sports, one on hospital management, and one in this. So you can be from any company, any sector. this program will have something for you there. And through case studies, through discussions, through points, you will have avenues to discuss your sector specific or your role specific or your company specific issues with the faculty members.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, professors. So, as I said earlier, we have, Mr. Raghavan Sridhar with us, who is from batch 5. Very warm welcome, Raghavan. He is the alumni of XLRI Jamshedpur batch 5 PGCSL program. I'll just, introduce you to the audiences. So, Raghavan is an electronics and communication engineer by qualification and a product development leader by profession. He is an alumni of Batch 5 PGCSL. He is currently working with Ericsson India Private Limited as a senior product leader in the research and development wing. He is a public speaker by passion and a trainer. He has conducted more than 250 workshops across India for corporates and students. He is also a blogger, violinist, and a father. His 7-year-old daughter is his biggest inspiration today. So, Raghavan, very warm welcome to you. Now, you can share your experience with the audiences, because as you have seen, there are many people, those who wants to understand how this program will help them. Their people are from different industries, and in your batch also there were participants from different location, different industry, different areas. So how, this program helped you? So please say something about that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pratish. Thank you so much, my respected professors. I'm wearing a smile since the time we started, because I remember exactly the same webinar that I attended 2 years back with exactly these very same questions. I had one eye on my career. I had another eye on my scheduling, mind full of doubts on can I handle the 1-year course, the intensity. I had one eye on my bank account as well. I had one eye on what was going to happen, uncertain times. And I remember having all of these very same questions. And here I am, 2 years later, without any of those questions, but still that childish enthusiasm to learn. But firstly, I think PGCSL has been, in real terms, a turning point in my life. Because all of us in this call are also leaders, right? We are leaders in our profession at home. We are technical leaders, or we are people leaders. We have always done that. We are handling crisis, we are handling problems, we are handling finances, we are handling projects, programs. And yet, a course like PGCSL, what it helps us do is it gives the method to that madness. It tells you and gives you and empowers you with all the needed tools and knowledge that will make you a faster decision maker, that will make you closer to success and correctness. And man, it gives you a peer group that you will otherwise not have at all. And I was chuckling when Sapna was asking about C-suite. I had the opportunity to sit in the same class as the CFO of Adobe India and learn accounts from him. And I was asking him, I'm going to test you, Raghu. Can you teach me this, because I didn't understand that. And we have startup heads, we have CEOs who come in, who attend. We have regular IT employees who want to take the next step, and we have all of us who are in between both, who really want to take the next step forward. So for me, at least, Pratish, everyone, this course has been a game changer. It equipped me with great knowledge. It gave me great strategies. And yeah, the campus component doesn't hurt either. It's absolutely amazing to spend 5-6 days at XLRI Jamshedpur, to walk the paths that legends have walked before us, to be part of some of the lovely, vibrant events, to go into that auditorium and sit and, if possible, go to the stage. Those are memories I'll always carry. On the scheduling itself, I think one of the things that, in case some of you are still deciding, what helped me pick up this course was there would be roughly about 5 to 6 hours of classes every week. Now that's unprecedented. I can tell you, based on my own research, that every other alternate gives you 3 hours, 4 hours per week. And it so happens that it could be on weekdays as well. For me, weekdays was a complete no-no. I had 2 kids, and then work was very busy. So it was weekends where I could at least breathe. And 6 hours on weekends was great, was fantastic. It was very engaging. It was so good to learn. And then, of course, we have smaller groups where we do assignments and everything. And that was brilliant. And each course, like Professor was saying, about 13, 14 courses, it's just phenomenal learning. I have always done a risk, for example, but I never knew that making a risk report was such a lot of there was so much insights. It was so much of thought leadership that goes into it. And there was also one other question which I wanted to touch on the alumni interaction, right? We are about 65 people in my own batch. And today, roughly about 50 of us are gathering. We have already done one gathering, the annual gathering. 50 of us just go. We met at Bangalore and we were interacting with each other. We have access to the alumni groups as well. And the networking is super, super strong. And we will meet once again this year as well. So it is also how you use it, but it's a great platform. So yeah, so that's been my experience. It's a lovely learning. You must give it a shot. I'm sure it will make you better for it. I will stay back. Any questions that you might personally have, also you can reach me. I can help you with this specific course, with anything alumni related.
Raghavan, I would request you if you could share your LinkedIn profile in
I
the
will.
chat box so that people
I
can
will.
connect with you and discuss and engage. We all can help each other to grow.
And just to add on to the disclaimer, there is no incentive from VC Now or XLRI for Raghav to share all of that. We are not holding back any of his grades or any of his money for him to share his thoughts. He shared what he felt he experienced.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely right, sir.
Good to see.
I think you can post your if anybody has any queries, you can definitely raise your hand and you can speak up in forum. And we are all there to answer all your queries that you might have. I think we have taken up all the chat questions so far.
Yes, we have.
Okay, I think one Syngenta
Yeah,
India.
we took. I took that
You already
question.
taken up? Okay, fine.
So what I will do meanwhile, if there are any questions, please feel free to raise your hand and we can discuss about your queries. Meanwhile, I will also walk you through the program details. Like I can see in the chat box, people do have queries related to the program. So I'll just share a short PPT wherein the course details are there. So Swarup, we have one question. Do we encourage international students from Australia? Swarup, yes, we do allow participants from different locations to join. The only thing is the class timings are as per Indian Standard Time. If your schedule permits you, you can definitely be a part of this this group. The class timings and everything, I'm going to share it in my PPT. And also the books and the study materials will be dispatched to you in your Indian address. So you will have to collect it from your Indian address only.
And most
And
importantly,
of course, the
you have to attend the
campus
campus component. Yes,
Correct.
that's critical.
Yes, Professor Thomas. Campus component, 5 days campus component is mandatory. So you will have to, stay in their campus for 5 days.
Yeah.
And as Raghavan said, campus immersion was the best, thing when he was there in the batch. So you should definitely not, miss that. So I'll quickly share my screen, then we can, take up your queries. Just give me a moment. I think my screen is visible. Okay, so the program title, name of the program is Postgraduate Certificate in Senior Leadership. This is batch 6 and the duration of the program is 12 months. The eligibility and selection criteria is that working professionals with 10 years of work experience after completing your graduation are eligible to apply for the program. And then there will be an online interaction with the XLRI faculties. Once you complete the interaction round, then you will get your selections for this program. The delivery mode of the program will be live and online classes, then plus 5 days of campus immersion. So the live and online classes will happen on every Saturdays 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and every Sunday 10:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Campus visits, 5 days of campus immersion, which will happen from 7th of July to 11th of July. And last date of application, 28th of February. And the application fee is 3,000 rupees plus 18% GST. That means at the time of registration, you will have to upload your documents, apply for the program, write a statement of purpose, which will be evaluated by our team, documentation team. And once your application is complete, then we will invite you for the faculty interaction round, wherein on a Zoom platform, it will be like a 10-15 minute of interaction just to check your fitment for the program. And then once you get selected for the program, you will get the admission letter signed by Professor Manoj Thomas. And once you get the admission letter, you will have to block your seat by paying the first installment amount. The total program fee is 4,20,000 rupees plus GST, which can be payable into 5 different installments. Further details about the program will be available in the program brochure, and a link which has been sent by Mr. Patnaik, Pulak Patnaik, in the chat box. Over there, you can post your queries. You can also see the payment structure, installment structure, course content, everything. Now, I will just give you the snapshot of the content which we are going to cover in this program. So the detailed content is available on our website, on XLRI website, and on the program brochure, which we will share it with you after this webinar gets over. So our team will share you the program brochure with you. So I'll just read out the program content which we are going to cover in this program. The first topic is effective leadership, assessing your leadership strength. Do remember this content is designed and developed by XLRI Jamshedpur after a lot of research as per the current market trends. So we keep on upgrade. We keep on upgrading our course content time to time. After every 2-3 batches, we do upgrade the course content. Now every year, we are coming up with new technologies. So this is our responsibility is also to deliver knowledge which is as per the industry standard today. So the second module is dynamics of market. Third is leadership communication, building a responsible organization, sustainability and ethics, creating corporate values, strategic thinking for leadership growth, organizational structure and HR alignment, corporate governance is there, enterprise risk management is there, digital transformation in the age of AI is there, which is very important, creating high performance teams, leading change, coaching and mentoring, managing innovation, and then at the last we will have capstone project. All these these are the modules of these are the modules which we are going to cover in this program. What are the sub modules? What are the topics which will be covered under dynamics of market, for example? You can find it out in our program brochure. We will share it with you after this webinar. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. You can reach out to us at 88-608-90535. I would request Ram to post this the numbers, helpline numbers in the chat box, so that our audiences can save those numbers. So the number is again 88-608-90535. You can take a screenshot of this. You can also reach out to me. My direct number is 9582-046-898. Also, you can write to me at pritish.mandal@vcnow.in. pritish.mondal@vcnow.in. So this is the contact details wherein you can reach out to us. Our academic counselors will help you with all your queries you have and the admission process. So thank you so much, everyone. So now we will, open the platform for question and answers. Anybody has any queries, please feel free to ask yourself. Ram, could you please check if we have given the access to unmute the participants? You can, unmute yourself and ask your questions here. So Professor Kalyan Bhaskar, I think you had written something in the chat box. If you could, share that with our audiences once.
Yeah. So I think there was a query from a participant that how do we get course material in France? So I think what I responded that for several courses, the course materials typically are shared using electronic means. Because now, especially post-COVID, case studies are also provided electronically. There is a dedicated link or articles. Sometimes articles are also shared through email. So then location does not become a constraint as such. You can be anywhere in the world, because there was a question similarly about someone being from Australia. But I think as of now, the courses that where textbooks are prescribed, I think as of now, we mail it to the Indian address. I think we might have to discuss in these cases, the Australia or France or outside India, what do we do?
In
Right.
many of the cases, we don't prescribe textbooks because textbooks, again, as an industry, it's undergoing a change. So what we have is, because we have something called academic information system, with which the primary means of communication with our participants. So through that, we share most of the material. So even irrespective of where you are, that can be accessed. And that will also provide you other details of schedules related to the examinations and things like that. So it's that will be the way in which we can reach anywhere across the world.
Okay. There we have one question from Swaroop Mandal. Will this course empower consulting professionals, leaders? Raghavan, can you share your thoughts about this? I mean, how if you could respond to this query, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the answer is definitely a resounding yes. How? Again, through the same subjects that we showed, right? You have strategy, you have leading through change, you have communication, you have enterprise management, you have setting up organizational behavior and setting up great organizations. And there is, of course, this very great, outstanding subject called anchors of leadership. And now I think there is a phrasal change to that. So what it empowers an individual to do is equip you as a better leader, as just agnostic of the industry you are with. And so this answer you can, I think, copy paste to any of the questions that are in your minds: healthcare, consulting, doctors, lawyers, professionals, because leadership itself is a domain. And so for you to be able to do your job better, regardless of the industry you are in, I think we have some outstanding educational materials and professors who help us through it. And so the answer to your question directly is yes. And to more specifically, how? By empowering you to be better as a leader and a thought leader and an action leader.
I think also just to add on to that, if you look into the profiles of the participants of the previous 5 batches, there might be hardly any sector that has not been represented.
Correct.
Previous 5 batches.
Well, we may not teach you how to consult. Okay. That's not part of what we are trying to teach, but we will teach you to be leaders in whichever domain you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Raghavendra has a question, right? I mean, 1 week, 6 hours. How many weeks total hours of classes? So yeah. So over the year, it will be spread across, every week 6 hours. So that is how the thing works. And finally, culminating into, a 5 days of a campus visit also. So that will be the, kind of the span of the course, right?
Total about 300 hours, I guess. Right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It is more than 300 hours in a year.
That is what my question was. So it is like a 50 weeks, solid 50 weeks, each 6 hours, something like that, right?
No, not 50 weeks into 6, because the campus component will have 30 hours in those 5 days. So
Yes.
there might be some Saturdays, Sundays where the classes might not be there. But
Okay, so like about 45 solid weeks, roughly.
yeah.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
On an average,
You
yeah.
also have exams in between. You also will have
Okay.
exams. So on those days, we'll not have the exam. The papers.
Understood. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Abhinav, would you like to, unmute yourself and ask this question to Raghavan directly? Because we want you to interact and, with your, seniors in terms of completing the program, not age-wise. So please go ahead and ask your question to Raghavan. I think he will be able to answer your question.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thanks everyone for having this session. This is really helpful to understand the program in itself. And thanks, Raghavan, to share his experience of the program. I just had a quick question around apart from the on-campus session or immersion that's going to happen, how does this program really facilitate, say, the peer learning part or the collaboration, which most of the other online programs do talk about? So yeah, just wanted to understand that piece.
Great question, Abhinav. And I think I would go and take help of Raghavendra, who so eloquently put out the mathematics also, right? So you're going to spend almost an year with a batch of about 50 plus people. Do you remember your school and college time, right? You can't help but become friends when you are given core groups, you're given assignments, and there are changing groups every subject. Friendships are very easy to strike up enough. And so what happens is after maybe the second or third weekend, you realize that it is only with the help of each other that you can finish the program well. There will be so many things for us to brainstorm on, so many angles to look at these assignments and learning, that you will end up striking a friendship, Abhinav. So one of the goals that I set for myself in the campus component was, I told myself I am going to take 65 selfies, one selfie with each of my classmates. And so that nobody stopped me in that sense. So you eventually become friends, Abhinav. How you use those friendships for your networking, for your career, for your own progression and learning, that's up to each of us. But the facilitation will be brilliant, Abhinav. You will have each subject will require you to work with a different subgroup. Mostly
Okay.
you will have one subgroup, but then there will be rotations as well. So you strike a friendship and working partnerships as well.
All right, yeah, that helps. Thanks, Raghavan. And one quick question. So, since this is a long program, like almost a year long program, so are there also recordings of the classes being available? Because there might be chances of somebody missing a weekend or so, uh, because people still move on with the life, the life still goes. So yeah, in those kind of situations, does it really? So do we have access to class recordings which we can access? Obviously, it wouldn't be same as attending the live class where you could ask questions and interact and make it more interactive. Uh, but still, better to have something than nothing.
I'm glad you ended the question with that statement because yes, actually the answer to your question is yes, there will be recordings, and yes, it will not be the same as attending the class. So if it, as much as possible, do attend it. But yes, at least for us, until the course was over, we had access to all of the recordings. And Pratish, if anything is changing, you should let us know. But yeah,
Of that term, you will have access,
yes,
right? So
Okay.
for a limited period of time, till you write the exams, you will have access.
exactly.
But again, we would request you not to miss any class, because
Correct.
that's where,
That was
Yeah.
just the risk mitigation part.
Yeah.
And even if you review the recorded session, you generally don't get an attendance. So attendance also becomes an important key criteria for your qualification. So, but there is always a kind of a room for you to yet miss in terms of contingencies and that you might have. So that much band is
Yes.
there. But yes, you'll not miss out on anything because the recordings will be available.
All right, sure.
too many absences may cause you a bit of grade loss, and also that's why I said we don't want you to do that.
So agreed, and yeah, point taken. Sure.
Thank you, Abhinav.
Thank you.
So we are open for question and answers. If you have any questions, there are many participants in this webinar today. So if you have any questions, Shailendra, I think Abhinav had already asked the question on your behalf, if on the class recording part. So if anyone want to have want to interact with us, have any questions, do let
You
us
can
know.
unmute and speak. You can straight away
Yes.
unmute and speak.
We still have like 4 or 5 minutes, so we can take few more questions. I think we have taken all the questions for today's webinar. Pulak, would you like to add anything, before we
Yeah. I
leave
think
them? We still have 5 minutes.
one key important factor about this program being within the flagship category of the VIL programs, as we have all those 1 year programs, this entails you for a alumni status as well, right? So that's a very, very prestigious affair that once you complete the program, you gain access to the alumni network, which itself is a kind of a, I would say, cherry on top, in the sense that whatever learning you take away, but I think getting hooked on with the elite network of individuals who have already passed out is a big thing. And I think that will also give kind of lot of impetus and push to your career goals also as well. I think Raghavan would also agree to that. And so that's going to be one of the good high points. And of course the certificate ceremony, of course, it happens at the campus, so that itself is also a high point of the program, right?
Yeah, it's a grand ceremony. So that's
Grand ceremony, yes.
that must be different.
Yeah,
So,
please.
sir, I have one question.
Yes, please.
So,
Yeah.
July, you presented that July will be an on-campus program for a week. And now you just mentioned about the certification that naturally comes at the end of the course. So there'll be two visits that one candidate has to happen to make this complete.
Yeah, actually for the certification, because it's a grand ceremony, we expect you to be here. In case you are not able to come, we will mail you the certificate, right? But again, you would not be wanting to miss that, because you would want to be part of your friends and as Raghavan was talking about, coming up to the stage and receiving the certificate from a guest of honor is something that you would like to carry for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
Okay.
understood, sir. It's a
So
privilege in
ideally,
itself.
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you have to literally wear a gown and accept your certificate. It's not like a regular valedictory that happens in a classroom. So it's an event that happens, and it's going to be a memorable event, I'm sure, for you and your family also. So I
Thank
think you
you.
should not miss that.
You mentioned about exams, right? So how many hours of exams will be there during this 12 months program, roughly?
It's not fixed. It's not fixed. Depends on the course. Every course will have a separate evaluation, and the faculty concerned will decide on what is the type of evaluation will be there. Okay, there will be multiple components. It could be some report group project that you do. There could be some written examination for every course. So those can be varying across courses.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So yeah.
Thank you so much, Professor Manoj Thomas and Professor Kalyan Bhaskar. I think today's discussion, and thank you so much, Raghavan, for also joining us. And I think people will now reach out to you through LinkedIn now that you have shared your LinkedIn profile. So I'm sure people will reach out to you to ask more about the program. So I think today's session was a very interactive session. We had questions coming up from the participants talk, wherein we discussed about today's leadership and the topics on Gen Z and various other topics, AI, all those things were highly interactive sessions, topics. So I think today's session we have already covered everything. I think we can now close today's webinar. So any closing note, Pulak, if you
Yeah.
would like
Yeah.
to
So
say?
one important closing note is that since time is also running out and there is a evaluation mechanism, in the sense that there is a interaction to happen, post you apply with the esteemed program directors also. So the earlier you apply is better. So your threshold of application, the first deadline is coming, getting over very soon, tentatively 28th is what the date is so far.
Yes.
28th Feb. So I think the earlier you apply, it's better, and you can, at least make a step forward towards your blocking your seats, So, but be prepared for one level of interaction, because of course, XLRI would like to ensure that whatever intake they do, so it's not that every application that goes through an application process is directly selected. So XLR also wants to make sure that we absorb the best of the talent of the industry within the program, so that excellent cohort is created. And with that objective, the earlier you apply is better. Reach out to our team. Pritish had shared the numbers. I think we will again publish the numbers, and our counselors will also be in touch with you. And whatever support or help that you would require in terms of applying, we would render that. And and thank you so much for coming in today, including our esteemed program directors, faculty. Raghavan, thank you so much for taking time out for us. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank
Have a nice day.
you. Thank you, Pritish. Yeah.
So thank you, sir. So we can stay on this call, Pulak. Professor Thomas, thank you so much. If we, there are any queries from the participants, we can take it up. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Professor.
Thank you, Pratish.
Thank you, Raghavan.
Thank you.
So
Thank
we'll
you.
keep the platform open for another 2-3 minutes. If there are
Yeah.
any questions we have, I can answer to those questions.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Professor Thomas.
Bye. And in the meantime, Pritish, you can display the contact details also. Anybody wants to write, or whether we can paste it on the chat box also.
I will definitely do that. Also, we have the program brochure in case I've shared the contact details, and I can also quickly walk you through the program brochure for the detailed content we have. I think we have taken all the questions, Pulak. It looks like we don't
Yeah.
have any more questions, so we can end the webinar, today's webinar here.
Yeah, I think we can close it here. And I think for any of you, if you feel that any queries needs to be answered, please reach out to us at these numbers. We are
Yes.
always available, so to respond to your queries.
Abhinav has posted can you share the registration link? Sure, Abhinav, I am just sharing the registration link with you in the chat box. Brochure, we will be sharing it to you, after this webinar gets over.
I think we can share the registration link directly on this chat box itself.
I have shared the registration link. Is
Yeah.
NOC required from employer for no Sham? We don't need any NOC certificate from your employer. If you want to inform them, you should definitely inform your organization but from our end, we don't need any document NOC, from your employer. Beneath, please share program brochure. Yes, we will be sharing it with you. I am not able to unmute myself. Let me check. Sudhanshu, just hold on for a moment. Let me check.
He wants to know about the exam pattern, right? So Sudhanshu, to respond to you, the assessments can be a mix of MCQ based online exams. It could be a quiz, it could be a quiz, or it could be a hard copy assessment in the campus. So based on the faculty kind of a decision for each subject, assessments will be done. But mostly MCQ based online exams, mostly.
Thank
Right?
you. Just one more question. During the campus visit, do you think there would be some kind of exams conducted then as well?
Could be, yes.
Okay.
It can happen that one assessment will be done during the campus also.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Anita, how to lead new generation. Anita, you will have to, join this program to understand it better, because handling, Gen Zs is not a, 2-3 minute discussion. It is actually something which all the leaders nowadays are facing. Like we were discussing during our webinar, this new generation, they are actually have a different kind of a mindset, and to retain that talent, leaders are now actually facing a lot of issues, and they are in trouble retaining those talents. So yes, it is something which is not a small topic, but yes, it is a part of leadership, because 50 years back the leadership was different. Now in 2025 it is different. In next 10 coming 10 to 10 15 years, it will be completely different, because the era will be of Gen Zs. So they are going to take over, and they will bring their own policies. So I'm sure you will have to learn all those skill sets so that you can cope up with them, and you both can help each other and grow organically in your organizations. So this is something which I wanted to share here.
Yes.
Pritish, I had one more question.
Yes,
I mean, since I'm into international business, this question is really important for me regarding attendance. So how important is attendance here?
See, attendance is important. 75% percentage of attendance is required in each module. So
Okay,
attendance is required. So see, Sudhanshu, basically the importance of attendance is that we don't want to give you a certificate because just because you are paying money to us. It
correct.
doesn't work like that. I mean, there are, you will find courses wherein you are paying and you're getting the certification. But here, exactly learning is happening. If
Right.
you don't attend the sessions, you won't learn. And recorded lectures, I am sure you will not enjoy the recorded lectures. You will have the access to it, but you will not enjoy it. You will not view it again. The kind of engagement you will have in your regular classes will not be there in the recorded session. It will be a one-way interaction. You will feel like you are watching a YouTube video, right? So,
Right.
the attendance is mandatory,
Mm.
75%, so that we want you to learn and implement those learnings in your organization. Otherwise, there is no concept at XLRI wherein if you are paying, then
Mm.
we will be giving you the certificates. And also I think somebody posted one question on the batch size. There will be around 50 plus participants. That means around 60 participants we are expecting in this batch, right? So 60 plus participants will be there in this batch.
Okay. So the peer group keeps changing for in terms of project.
Well, that depends upon the faculty, right?
Okay.
So the evaluation criteria, that depends upon the faculty. It can be in the form of MCQ. It can be form of assignment, group studies, project work, anything.
Okay. Thank you.
We have Anita. I think I have answered your question. Anita, are you from HR background?
Yeah. I'm in OPT
That is
Silbon.
why this question is coming up from you. I understood by reading your question. You are from HR background. It is very difficult for you to retain talent and discuss any policies, implement any policies with these new generation people, those who are coming in.
So they're so tech savvy and they know
Yes.
ChatGPT.
Correct. They know everything. They know, more than us. So that is why it is also important for us to learn what is happening in the industry. That is why these programs are there to help you understand the concept of leaderships. And, so you also have to evolve and learn. Otherwise, if our learning will stop, will never be able to, lead, or, we'll never be able to learn the leadership qualities.
Thank you so much for this.
You're welcome. Anita. Any more questions do we have? We will share the the program brochure. So meanwhile, what I am also doing is that I am sharing you our website link where you can find all the course details in the chat box. So you can visit this URL link, and you will also get an email with the program brochure, which will have the detailed content in it. And you can reach out to us on the numbers which are there in the chat box. So do we have any more questions? Otherwise, we will, close today's webinar. I think we have taken all the questions, Philip.
Yeah,
So
I think we can close here. If anybody has any queries, please reach out, and we'll be glad to answer all your queries. Thank you so much for joining in.